Hey guys, it's Ghost. And welcome back to another video. So this one is kind of exciting. I am going to be participating in DollMotion's DIVUS collab, and I'm going to be making a doll for that. This video is probably either coming out after the collab or way before. I don't really know yet. We'll see how this goes. But you can go ahead and go check out the video if it's out already. I should be featured somewhere in there. This is way before the video coming out, obviously, but I'm also planning on signing up for Patreon right about then, so I can have some more information in the video. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope you guys enjoy that showcase as well, and I hope you guys will enjoy the process video. So for this, I'm going to be using an old Dragon Games Raven. This is one that I had for a very long time. She's one of my first dolls, actually. And I did repaint her, and she's stained to hell because of that, and she's all messed up. The sealant that I used clouded, and her eyes are just completely messed up now. She also has Courtly Jester's hands. I switched out her hands quite a bit and traded them off to other dolls a lot, and this is just the pair that she ended up with. I'm going to be painting this entire doll, so it really doesn't matter if she's stained or has different colored hands at all, so that's really not a problem. And her hair is really nice. It's a really nice quality, so I'm going to be saving it as much as possible. So, keeping the rubber band in place, I'm going to be trimming the hair close to the scalp and just getting rid of it. Okay, so trimming everything off on camera was a bit difficult, so I turned the camera off, but this is what the hair looks like, and I'm just gonna save it because it's really nice quality hair and it's a pretty color. Now, in order to prevent further staining and to get a smooth canvas, I'm gonna be using some acetone nail polish remover and removing the paint on her face. Alright, so now all of her paint is off, and you can see how terribly stained she is. I also took the paint off the hands as much as possible, and now I'm going to be just dunking her in very hot water so I can remove the head, and I'm going to be doing that off camera. I've already kind of started, but I'm taking this flathead screwdriver and I'm scraping the inside of the doll's head to pull in the plugs. In between, I'm going to go in with my pliers to pull out the hair. Alright, so I ended up doing this off screen because it was super complicated and it was actually quite difficult, but I added in the armature wire for her gills. I just coated them with masking tape. They might be a bit thick, but I think they're okay, and I also secured them in place with super glue that is yet to dry. Alright, so to start off, I took some sandpaper to the doll's body to rough it up a little bit so that the paint will stick better. And next, I'm going to use some white gesso to prime the plastic. I'm going to try to paint this on as smooth as possible, but hopefully this will help the paint stick. Alright, I was coating the back of the head with gesso because I wanted to cover up all the holes when I realized I forgot to slice off her ears, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, now I'm just going to use some of my epoxy clay to sculpt on her gills and her facial details. I don't know how far I filmed, but after I sculpted on the details and they dried, I brushed on a layer of super glue to protect the modifications that I made. Also, I think I cut off her ears. I filled that in with epoxy clay as well, and I also coated the back of her head with a layer of super glue, hoping that would mask the holes in her head. I also attached her head to her body so that I won't have to apply so much pressure on the finished mods, so I won't damage them. Now I'm going to take some more gesso and I'm going to cover up her entire head. Now the entire body has been coated in gesso and it's a bit rough, so I'm going to go in with some white acrylic paint and I'm going to apply thin layers at a time in order to smooth out the paint job. Now after the coats of acrylic paint, she does look really good. She's a solid white. She is chipping around the joints, but honestly that can't be helped. So I'm just going to cover that up for the best of my ability. But anyway, this is what she looks like. She is a solid white color now. She turned out pretty good. And her body modifications look pretty good on her face as well. So although if I do have one complaint, she is pretty bumpy from all the brush strokes, and I tried to make them as smooth as possible, but they just still showed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be spraying a layer of Mr. Super Clear. A layer of sealant tends to smooth out the bumps a whole lot, so I'm just going to take some Mr. Super Clear and I'm going to spray her entire body. I'll probably do 1 or 2 coats and see how that goes. Alright, so I don't know how much I actually filmed. I did several layers of Mr. Super Clear on her and she's as smooth as she's gonna get. So now I'm going to be blushing her body using acrylics because Mr. Super Clear honestly doesn't work the best in cold temperatures and it's already kind of cold out. So I'm just gonna use watered down acrylic paint to paint on her blush. Alright, I've blushed her entirely, and because she is modeled after an albino axolotl, I think this level of extra redness in her skin is totally appropriate, and I think it honestly looks really pretty in my opinion. So now I'm just gonna be adding freckles all over her body because I'm making her a speckled axolotl. Now that her body is pretty much done, I think I'm just gonna go on and do her face up now. Alright, I have her on a stand, I have her wig cap all marked up, and I also have a bunch of wefts that I brushed out, and I'm going to be gluing them onto the wig cap. After a bit of styling, this is what her hair looks like. Alright, now we're gonna do some finishing touches on her body. First, I'm gonna poke a hole in her back. And now I'm gonna add the tail. I didn't make this on camera because I used DollMotion's exact same method. It doesn't feel incredibly stable, but I feel like this is the best I can do. Alright, now, her tail actually took me some effort to get on, but it's on now. So, with that out of the way, I'm gonna take some craft glue and some of this pinkish, like this fleshy colored thread, and I'm going to be finishing off her gills. Alright, so I ended up doing most of the gills off camera because it was so hard to look really close into the gills while still being in frame. So sorry you didn't get to see a lot of that, but I glued those little pieces of thread one by one to the gills, and honestly, I think they look really great. She looks cute just like this, but I'm going to be dressing her up. So for once, I actually didn't make an outfit. I just bought a fashion pack. This is actually from the #Lika line, which is a sort of a Japanese version of Barbie. They recently came out with a very modern look for her, which was actually quite rare. I don't think they've done this before much, but they did like a modern J Street fashion line for her, and I really wanted one of the dolls, but they were a bit expensive. And then I saw that someone had sold just the outfit of one of my favorites out of the line, and so I grabbed it immediately, not really thinking of what I should do with it, and I ended up making this character for the collab using the outfit. So yeah, let's dress her up.